Hi folks, welcome along to the channel. Thanks for joining. Now it's a bit different. This week we are off to go and buy a car, which is going to be quite interesting. So I'm going to take you along and let's see how we get on buying a car. Well, just a quick start to this. Going along, and I obviously didn't record all of the buying process because I don't think that's fair. It was a private sale, so here it is. This is the Volvo XC60 that I've been teasing about buying. And here we are back home with the XC60. I'll tell you what, it's a great car to drive, really easy. I'll take you around everything, run you through what we've got on it, all the gadgets and things like that. There's loads and loads of different versions of this car as well. You can get them with loads of optional extras and things like that. So if you are going to buy one yourself, take care of what edition you're going for. It's quite difficult to find exactly the right options and things like that just by looking at the make and model number. But I'll take you through a few of those bits and pieces. And I'll take you through which one it is that I've bought as well. So as I mentioned, this one is a 2012 and it's the D4, so it's the 2 litre front wheel drive only Lux edition. And I'll show you what the Lux edition comes with, but basically, yeah, it's got the 2 litre engine, and you'll notice when you're looking at cars like this, you've got 2.2, 2.4. A lot of them are all-wheel drive, and I've got to say, I didn't see the need for going all-wheel drive on a car that I'm not going to be doing an awful lot of off-roading, because let's face it, they're not really off-roaders, are they? They're people carriers. Taking a look inside, you can see leather steering wheel, and part of the Lux pack, this is the leather edition. So we've got some really comfy, and I can't stress how comfortable these seats are. I have been looking for quite some time as a replacement for my Chrysler Grand Voyager, if you remember, because the comfort level driving and in that car was second to none, and I've got to admit this XC60 matches that easily. It's a great driving position. We've got memory seats here on the driver's side. And you'll also see that we've got the auto, but we've also got the manual shifter, so we can flip it across and we can take manual control of the 6-speed automatic gearbox. Looking around the rest of the car, as you'd expect, we've got electric windows all round, electrically adjustable wing mirrors. We've also got the infotainment system. You can see actually I've put a car charger for my phone into the CD slot, because let's face it, who uses CDs now? That works really nicely actually. And I'll power the car on in a second, and you'll see the panel that comes up and gives you all of your information in the center here. I was mentioning before about the automatic gear shifter, park, reverse, neutral, drive, and then push it across into manual control, and you can sequentially go up and down the gears manually, which is quite nice if you do want that extra little bit of power, or especially if you're using it as a tow vehicle. That would be really handy to have that ability. The rest of the car pretty much as standard. Loads of storage spaces. You've got the bit in there with two nice big generous cup holders. You've got the storage bin back here as well, with the USB slot. You can see my orange USB stick to play MP3s and things like that on the infotainment system, which that's a nice little add-on. You can also do Bluetooth streaming, radio and CD as well. It'll also talk to an iPod if you plug that into the USB port as well, so loads of options there. Moving around into the back, loads of space for your 3 passengers in the rear. Again, nice big leather seats, very comfy indeed, and these all flip down and they run really flat when you convert it, so there's loads of space as well if you need to get that extra bit of room in the back for transporting and things like that. The seats will go right the way down. You can see they split into 2 sections as usual, 1 seat on the right there and then the combined. And I'll show you the middle armrest as well, because that's quite nice, and it's got again a nice bit of storage for your rear passengers. Let's face it, we do end up spending a lot of time inside the car, which is why I'm concentrating on a lot of the interior stuff, because I do think it's nice on this car. So for your rear passengers, you've got this rather nice fold down shelf with a little storage compartment here, and then you keep folding it out and you've got 2 again nice big sized cup holders. So my 2 girls do like all of this space and everything that they've got back here that you can see. So that's some more really nice features. By the way, there's also more cup holders in each of the seats themselves, not the seats, the doors, in the door cards. They also have their own vents back here as well, which I think is a nice little featured add-on. Just take you around there, so they can adjust the flow and also the position of the air vents back here as well, which does make a huge difference on the longer journeys, and especially if your kids do suffer from motion sickness and things like that, that constant air supply really does help them out with that as well. So so there we go. So that's what it's like in the back of here. And I know I'm not a tall person, but to me there is plenty of space back here. I'm feeling really comfortable, so that's quite good. Let's take a look at what the boot section looks like. Now on this one, the Lux, we do have power tailgate, but unfortunately mine has a fault with it, so that's probably going to be a future video, isn't it, sorting out the power tailgate. But in the meantime, you've got the luggage cover here. Now I mentioned before about optional extras. This one has got the plastic boot liner optional extra. You can see it's a big heavy duty big mat thing that keeps everything nice and solid, which that's quite a nice add-on, especially for me, because I'm going to end up putting stuff like tools and bits and pieces in the boot, so that's going to keep it really good. We have our 12-volt charge socket, which is always handy in the boot. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this liner out, because underneath there's a few nice factory features that unfortunately are a bit hidden by having this in place. Now that's out and we've just got the regular boot floor, we've got our usual fixing points. We've got hooks on the back of each of the seats as well, so you can hook fasteners and bungee cords and things. But then you've also got this interesting idea, which flips up like that, and it's to put your shopping in, and it's to hold it nice and solid, which I think, again, that's really quite a nice idea, just to compartment up your boot. There's a few hooks here to hang bags off and things like that, so it's really nicely thought through. Got a couple of the storage compartments at each side which come apart and let you get at the rear lights like that, very straightforward. And then you lift this up, and again, just little things like this hook that you hook up here, so you can get into your spare tyre, which is down the bottom. It's a space saver on this car, but you've got all of your tools in there. You've got a wrench here as well. You've got the standard Volvo emergency kits. I've not actually looked in those. You've got the emergency mirror. We've got another shopping cargo net actually as well for the boot, so it really does have everything packed in. This is what I mean about checking when you're buying, because the spec manual is, or especially if you're buying second hand, it's not going to tell you you've got all of these things. You're going to have to either go on the seller's word or have a rummage around and take a look. So it really makes it quite difficult to compare prices and models and things like that when you don't know what exactly it's all coming with. So it really is one that you've got to kind of come out, take a look at and see what you're getting for your money, really. But I'm going to put the rubber boot cover in because that helps, keeps things protected for me. And let's have a look under the bonnet. So this is like I said, the 2-litre Volvo, and it's the D4 engine, which has been around quite a while now, and I think that's a good thing because it means that they've you know, they've proven themselves. They're tough engines as well. Hydraulic bonnet struts, which is always nice, but you don't get to see an awful lot of the engine these days, do you? But I'll take you through what we can see. Interestingly, there is the oil filter. That's in a really nice, easy, accessible position there. Power steering fluid. We've got our coolant reservoir. There's the point for the AC recharge. Oil fillet. Now, interestingly, the more observant of you will notice there is no oil dipstick, and this is the bit that puts me off a lot of modern cars, unfortunately. I do like to be able to check things manually, but on this car you can't. It's an electronic dipstick, and you've got to access it through the config menus in the car. It will also warn you as to your oil level, so at least in that respect, on a lot of cars the engine oil warning light comes on when it's low pressure. So if there's not enough oil circulating in the system, typically when that happens though, it's already too late. It's not good news. So I'm hoping that this way of doing things does help a little bit, to be honest. We've got a battery cover, and our battery will be underneath there. Going to be quite a beefy one for a 2-litre with all these gadgets as well. That's going to be quite a beefy one. Actually, the alternator looks quite a large alternator as well, again to keep powering all of these add-ons. Now mine is the 2012, so I'm expecting it to have had a replacement battery by now. That seems pretty typical, and to be honest, not unexpected either. So I may be looking at needing one of those in the near future, so I'd need to have a look and see. We have the xenon lights as well, which really light up well. I'm impressed with that, and the daylight running LEDs as well. Now on mine, it seems like mine had factory settings to have the lights on all the time, and it's a Volvo Vida setting. Now Vida is their diagnostic software, which is unique to Volvo. Now whether I'm going to look at getting that or something similar, I'm not sure. Depends on how much work we end up needing to do. I'm hoping, fingers crossed this time, that we're not going to be doing an awful lot on this car. As you can see, this one's on 127,000 on the clock, that's miles, and it's had the timing belt done and all the regular servicing and things like that, so I'm pretty confident about how that's gone. Now I'm going to show you the oil level. What we do is we press and hold the button on the front panel. Hopefully the car's going to wake up in a second. Okay, I haven't inserted the key. It's actually telling me. It's one of these slot things that we put into the slot over there. But I'm not going to press the brake, because you hold the brake to start the engine. So let's turn the car on. Okay, and what I can now do is I can scroll through the menus, hopefully, miles to the gallon and things like that, and there we go. Oh, the sun comes out at just the wrong moment, probably killing what the camera can see. Hopefully you can see that's showing the engine oil level there. And all I did to get that is there's a little scroll wheel here that I can scroll through the different things on the car, and you can see I'm getting a 42.7 miles to the gallon average, which I think isn't bad going actually for what is a fairly big and hefty car. So I'm quite pleased with that, to be honest. So then, what's it like to drive? Well, it is a really nice, easy car to drive. Obviously, with having the automatic gearbox, you put it in drive and you leave it to it. You just let it get on with its job. Now, this one has the rear parking sensors, but it doesn't have the front or the reversing camera, things like that. Again, these are all optional extras, and unless you go and check out the car yourself, or unless the seller has actually told you that's what they've got, it's difficult to know whether it comes with these extras or not. So that is something that you've got to watch out for. I'm not sure whether you're going to be able to tell this very easily on the camera, but the diesel engine is really quite quiet on this model as well. If you put your foot down, you notice it, and you can hear the engine give a little bit of power. Try this. But generally, when you lift your foot off and you're just driving it normally, it's a really quiet, pleasant place to be in this cabin. The aircon and the climate control system, it's all automatic, so you just simply set temperatures. Actually, you also set split temperatures, so the driver and the passenger have different temperature settings. Again, this one also has the heated leather seats, which is really nice as well. Now that it's coming up to winter, I'm looking forward to that lots. So again, loads of little bits and pieces that are packed in. This lovely smooth 2-litre D4 is combined with the 6-speed automatic gearbox, and the gearbox changes. Remember, this is 127,000 on the clock, and it is silky smooth. It is lovely. I don't know whether you can tell that from watching the video, but there's very little in terms of when the gearbox does its thing. I haven't really played around with the manual control of this gearbox, but even just leaving it in auto, it's got a fair bit of power to it. And there it is, up to 60 uphill, no problem at all. It doesn't really have to think hard at all about it. So it really does the job. And looking at the running cost on it, it's not too bad. Obviously, it's a little bit more expensive than your normal. Tyres aren't too bad considering. I think they were getting on for about £80–90 a tyre, which isn't ridiculous. Servicing, a couple of hundred will get you. It takes a lot of oil, let's face it. So you can get a general service. I was looking back on the history on this car, and a few years ago it did get the timing belt done, which is obviously important when a car gets to the right age, generally around about 100,000 on the clock. And when this one got done, it came out at around about £400 or £500 in total, which I think is astonishing actually for what is a big car and a timing belt change. So I'd be very happy with a bill like that. So what's my verdict then on the Volvo XC60? Well, I think it is a great family car. Bags of room, really nice. It's got a lot of pulling power as well, even though this is only the 2-litre engine. I was a little bit worried that it might not have much power, but I'll tell you what, it has bags of it. So I think this is going to be a great addition to the fleet. Servicing and repairs, we'll see how we get on. Might be a bit tricky. The newer the car, the trickier it gets to do things yourself and service them at home. So we will find out about that, I'm sure, over time. But for now, very pleased with my latest purchase. Hope you like it too. Pop a comment down the bottom if you like it, if there's any questions you want to ask about it, I'll do my best. But otherwise, please subscribe and I'll see you in the next video.